Hi everyone and welcome for this tutorial how to paint Gazghull Thraka. This is the first part. We are going to paint steel and copper. For that I'm going to use some black and white from Pro Color, some red brown, light flesh and red leather from Prince August and Model Color, and a little bit of wizard orb from Army Painter. Don't hesitate to ask if you have any question into the comment zone, and like the tutorial to help me to reach more people. I primed all my miniatures in grey, and we are going to start the steel painting by using some black directly in the airbrush. If you don't have airbrush, don't worry, you just can start with black primer and directly start with this step directly in white. I use some white Pro Color because it's a pretty covering color, and I'm going to dilute them. The consistency will be like milk, and I'm going to push that on every edges. After that I'm going, sometimes as you can see, I push some line. There are no edges, but I'm going to create this line because I see some reflection of light on this part. And after that I'm going, as you can see, with the side of my brush I push my color to create my transition. Don't worry if it's not totally clean, because we are going to have we are going to work on texture steel, so every of your mistake is going to be an opportunity to create more texture. After that I'm going to paint more and more edges and make some line to create some damages. As you can see, I augment the speed by 4 on the tutorial. If you want, you can make it lower directly on YouTube. My voice will be a little bit strange, but you can see more easily my movements of brush and how I apply my paint. I start making some line, as you can see, just to create more texture and more damaged surfaces. I continue with some black from Pro Color. In that way I'm going to push more contrasts on my non-metallic metal steel, and that's going to give more deep effect on my NMM. Remember, the non-metallic metal effect is pretty effective if you push a lot your contrast. My dilution is always very high, so don't hesitate to dilute a lot and remove some color from your brush on your hand. Now I use some red brown. This color is going to give more and more deeper effects into my paint, and that's going to make some rust, beginning of rust effect, but we are going to work on rust effect on some future tutorial. I decided to put this tutorial in different parts because Gazghull Thraka is a very large model, so we are going to work on the different steps in the future. Now I use some white color again just to push again my contrasts, and that's down for the steel. Now we are going to start some copper painting. For that I'm going to use some red leather, and this red leather is going to be my base. I'm going to push my shadow with some red brown. I push my red brown in every part where going the more shadow, and I make it 2 or 3 times to have a very strong red brown in the shadow. Now I continue and start my highlights by using some red leather mixing with some light flesh. You can use some elf flesh if you don't have light flesh, but that's the same things. And I continue just by pushing every recesses, every edges, sorry, with my light flesh. It's pretty easy to create this kind of effects. Just try from your side, that's the best way to learn. And don't worry if you make some mistake, you can always come back on that. Just move and just makes different step, as you can see. So now I continue with some black from Pro Color again, just by pushing into the recesses to create more contrasts on my different parts. Now I come back for pushing more my contrasts by mixing some red, brown and some black. You see, I'm going to always limit my surfaces. So more we are going to paint, smaller will be the surfaces we are going to reach with our brush. And now I just tap my color just to have a very strong color. I continue with a mix between elf flesh and white color by pushing more and more highlights on the different surfaces. Take care and just put just some few points just to be sure you are not going to remove too much the first red laser color. Always the same things, the contrast needs to be very strong. And just to finish, I come back with some wizard orb to push some verde gris into the different surfaces. More I'm going to use it in the shadow first. That's the place you can see the more rust, so that's the place to push the verde gris. Thanks again for watching this tutorial. Don't hesitate to subscribe to my channel, to follow me on Facebook and Instagram so you can see more easily all my work. And don't hesitate to subscribe to my Patreon to support me to create more and more content for you, and to have access to private Facebook painting group so you can show me every week your work, and I will come back to you to be sure you are going to improve and make more and more progress. Thanks again for watching, and see you soon for the next tutorial. Bye bye.